Hello everyone, welcome to Driven Life with Wanangwa. Welcome to another video. Thank you so much for tuning in today and for taking time to watch this video. I believe that you're going to be blessed. So without much ado, let us dive right into it. Today I'll be talking about bad dating advice part 4. Okay, you can watch part 1, 2 and 3 on my channel. I may also link it in this video. But please check it out. You're going to be blessed. So today, I have a lot to share with you, so let me dive right into it. I believe this is going to be a blessing to you. Now, number one, the bad dating advice people receive is that I will change him. Okay. So many people have this mindset to say, if I find somebody, no matter what they do, no matter who they are, no matter their character, I'll change them. Okay. Anything is possible with God, so they say. Okay. Relationships are not vehicles for soul winning or discipleship. You have to understand that. Okay, they are not avenues for soul winning or discipleship. Okay, you have to select someone who shares your faith and your values. Someone who has that in common with you. Okay, you can say, okay, we share purpose, we share our faith, and we share our values. If you don't share those things, you have no business being with them. Okay, relationships are not vehicles for soul winning or discipleship. And I want you to understand that, influence is not a one-sided affair. Okay, who knows that once you start dating this person, that they will be the ones to influence you. Okay, and not you influencing them. Because whether you like it or not, okay, relationships are so deep that the influence is also deep. And it's not one-sided. Okay, date someone who doesn't love God. The next thing you know, your fire will also grow cold. It's inevitable. It will happen. So what I can tell you is, this advice of saying you will change them, no, you won't. I can guarantee you, you won't. Yes, maybe there have been some people who managed to do this, where they managed to pull it off. Maybe they influenced their partner to end up being believers. But in the process of getting them to do that, they also change. Because they're fighting constantly. They're striving towards that. So many sleepless nights praying. Some people have become intercessors, not because God called them to it, but because they were having issues, because they selected a partner wrongly. Okay, that kept them awake at night, praying, trying to hope for change in their partner. Okay, now I would like to read a verse to you from 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and that is verse 39. The Bible says that a wife is bound by the marriage covenant as long as her husband is living. But if the husband dies, she is free to marry again as she desires. But of course, she should be a believer. Or maybe he should be a believer in the Lord. Okay, so there is a very clear condition that Paul puts there. He says that this woman can marry as she desires, but this person has to be a believer in the Lord. That's the condition he puts across. And you have to be serious about that. Number 2, he says, don't settle. Okay, you have to, I understand that we all have to aim for someone who is amazing and good. Okay, but I also want you to understand that you can have unrealistic standards. You can have an unrealistic self-perception. There are some people who feel like they deserve people who are of high class, but they themselves are not. Okay, it's one of those things where they're like, I deserve this type of a person and all that, but their standards are really unrealistic. Okay, because you want to become the person you're looking for would look for. Okay, if you're not that person, they will not look for you. You must have standards that are realistic. Be honest with yourself sometimes. Okay, like some college students will always tell you, like, I can't date another college student. You know why? It's because they're aiming to date someone who is a CEO or someone who is a boss somewhere. How can you be so unrealistic? Okay, have a healthy self-perception. Find somebody good. Allow God to lead you there, but make sure that you have a healthy self-perception and your standards are not unrealistic. Because to be honest, all of us will eventually settle. When you choose somebody, you're actually settling. So settling isn't as bad as you think. I know it's been a taboo word for a long time, but it's not as bad as you think because everybody does settle. Okay? And I want you to understand that the people that you admire, those are the people that are married and they seem to have it all together, and you admire them and be like, wow, I really want to have that. And you're aiming and trying to find a single person who is like those married people, and you want to find somebody like that. I'm telling you, most of them who are having great marriages like that, they didn't find themselves already made. They grew together. They built what they have together. Okay? They rose together to greatness. All right. So you'll not find somebody who is a finished article. You need to learn to have realistic standards. Okay? You'll not find a finished product. So you eventually have to settle and begin to build what you desire in line with the purpose that God has given you as a couple. All right? So that's one thing. Number 3 is that the advice that people receive. Number 3 is give ultimatums to get his attention. Okay, maybe to get her attention. Give ultimatums to get his attention. I think this doesn't work. I've seen so many people do this, and it has really led to them losing their relationships. Okay, never use threats. Learn to work through issues properly. Okay, never use threats. Never tell your partner to say, I'm gonna leave you, if you don't do this. I'm gonna, such ultimatums. I'm giving you 5 days, otherwise I'll stop dating you, or maybe I'll do this, I'll do that. You're giving ultimatums, and that is a sign of disrespect. And some people will tell you, okay, this is what you want. Okay, I'll give you what you want. You continue with your life. Okay. I've seen people lose relationships. They said something they didn't really mean, and then their partner said, "You're really disrespecting me right now." Okay, I'll give you what you want. But deep down inside, they didn't really want that. They just said something because they were emotional. So this is a rule I want you to always remember: that never make a permanent decision in a moment of emotion. Okay? Or maybe let me put it like this: never make a permanent declaration in a moment of emotion. All right? Make sure you're careful with your words, because they can become reality. Now, the last thing that I will share is number 4, is that he or she has a problem with your opposite sex friends because he is insecure. Okay? So there is this thing, I think, in our generation, where I think most of young people in our generation, they're not careful about creating boundaries with the opposite sex. I think there's been so much dilution that has happened in this arena, and so you find that people are dating, but they're still inappropriately interacting with the opposite sex. They're still confiding in them. They still have deep connections and bonds with the opposite sex when they actually have a partner. Some people actually continue like this until they are married. Okay? And the next thing you know is that it destroys their relationships. And most of the times when their partner brings this up, you find that they receive these pieces of advice, or maybe they may even tell themselves these things to say, he's actually complaining about your guy or girlfriends, these friends of the opposite sex, because he's insecure, or maybe she is insecure. But I'm telling you, if your partner brings this up and says they have a problem with your interactions with the opposite sex, you have to honor their concern. You have to listen to them and make changes, because boundaries speak of respect. Boundaries, they protect your connection. Okay, you want to guard your connection at all costs. You don't want to leave a door for the enemy to use in the future. Okay, make sure you make changes. So it's not really because he's insecure. Sometimes it's because he's really concerned and he cares. So make sure you respect that. All right, so this is what I had for you. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to like, to comment, and to subscribe. Tell me how this has been blessed you, what you have learned. Until next time, have a good one.